So actually, before I start the presentation here, I want to tell you about my last 24 hours, partly because I'm in so much pain right now. I was down a part of an accelerated training program with leadership with a bunch of former Navy SEALs. And there were 3 takeaways that I had from this thing. 1, man, are they impressive. 2, I had no business being there. Actually, I'm going to give you 4. 3, there's an expression they use that I think is fantastic, especially when you think about dealing with large, complex issues. And they talk about this all the time when they have a mission. Sometimes they think it's too big for them to handle. They'll say, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. And then the last one was, and this what's relevant to what we're talking about today with virtual reality, is they really harp on the interconnection between the mind and the body. If you think about these warriors, there's a lot of people that are faster than they are, a lot of people that are stronger than they are. But what makes them successful is their ability to use their mind to overcome their body and push themselves to achieve more than they ever thought they could. And they actually do this experience with me, where with all of us, they put us in this bucket of ice water. It was about 40 degrees. It was one of the most painful things and tough things I've ever done in my life. And you're in there and you're about ready to hyperventilate, and they keep telling you to calm yourself down, take control of that fight or flight moment, calm yourself down, breathe. And it's the intersection of the mind and the body. If you think about what VR is, it's exactly that. And we're going to actually do a little demonstration here in a few seconds. Okay, so now let's talk about virtual reality. We have this experience, and you're going to see it today, where we take you up 500 feet on the side of a building, and we ask you to do one simple thing: take a step off. Now, I've probably put about 2,000 people through this experience. Some of them have actually stood in line 200 deep, watching what's going on. They can't believe they're going to be impacted by it, and when they get up there, they're as impacted as the first person. We've put CEOs through it, we've put lower level people through it. It doesn't really matter. Everyone kind of gets impacted the same. You get sweaty palms. Some people will get an elevated heart rate. Some people can't even do it. They'll rip the thing off. So I had my mama do this. She's an 87-year-old woman from North Carolina. She had her cane. She was up in her offices in LA. And she was sitting there, and she's doing this thing and going up. And finally, the gate falls off. She's sitting there shaking and everything, more than she normally shakes. Can't do it at all. Rips the thing off, and she says, "Matthew, what is therapeutic about that?" There's nothing therapeutic about that. But we use that to show how we can hijack the brain. So think about the power of this. If we can hijack the brain, if we can override that rational, logical self and tap into the non-conscious and the emotional, then we can start to do some pretty powerful things. And that non-conscious and emotional is where actually decision-making happens. Look at all the world of the behavioral science, behavioral economics. And so we can use that for mental health to address depression, anxiety, PTSD, phobias. We can use this to actually help reduce the use of sedation and opioids in a hospital setting when going through procedures. We actually had a woman that went into one of our procedures, or going through childbirth and wanted to do it naturally. And she wanted to avoid that epidural. And so we put her into a VR experience, and she was in there for 2 hours. And literally, she was so immersed that the doctor had to ask her to take it off if she wanted to be present for the birth of her daughter. We can use this also to basically break down that asynchronous nature of the action you take today and the reward or risk that you see tomorrow. And you can see the consequences of your actions today, what's going to happen in the future. And that means we can actually use this to drive positive behavior change. We can use this to help with compliance. We can use this to actually help address some of the most challenging chronic disease states, like diabetes, obesity. We're actually doing an intervention right now in partnership with the Hearst Foundation and Cedars-Sinai with an African-American population where we're trying to help address hypertension. And we're actually taking them inside the body so they can see what's going to be happening to their organs, to their liver, their kidney, their heart, by their salt intake. And then we can actually teach them coping skills so that they can learn this mindfulness and meditation, and so they can overcome that stress and anxiety that reverts them back to their old behaviors. Now, with mental health, we can actually use this to help address 2 of the most challenging issues that we face. One is the shame based from the stigma of recognizing that you have a mental health issue, so you don't want to get help in the first place. And then the second is, if you do want to get help, that lack of accessibility, either to trained therapists or to new techniques. And virtual reality can be used As an example, with the veterans going through PTSD, Skip Rizzo down at USC has done some amazing work with them. And one of the key insights that he got as he's using a virtual therapist is that they're more willing to be open to talking to a virtual therapist than they are a real therapist because they don't feel judged. There's no shame. And then as it relates to thinking about that accessibility, we can use VR to actually deliver to clinics in rural areas or even into someone's home clinically prepared virtualists, if you will, virtual therapists. And then we can provide different techniques like using biometric feedback data to actually drive the experience in the VR. And we can use that, going back to what we talked about the Navy SEALs, to connect the mind and the body. And we're actually getting ready to launch an amazing new program with a major payer as a part of a state pilot program where we're going to be bringing in effectively a biofeedback delivery mechanism into clinics across the state. And then the final piece is, this is one thing that a lot of people overlook when they think about bringing any new technology into healthcare, especially going into healthcare providers, is one of the most important things you have to think about that always gets overlooked is actually the importance of workflow design. These practitioners are overworked already, and the last thing they need to do is something else that's complicated. And so no matter how great the clinical efficacy is, if it's complicated, it's difficult to use, and it's not built for the way they do their work, it's never going to get used. It's going to sit in a corner. It's going to collect dust. So, but none of this matters if we can't first hijack the brain. So we're going to do a demo on stage here, and we were kind enough to have Arianna Huffington come on and be a guinea pig for us. We're going to throw her off a building. All right, here we go. So you're going to sit right here, and we are going to put on the headset here. Now, there's a couple rules for this. And before I put this on, I want you to know the rules. Rule number one, do not jump. All right? You may have that desire, that inclination, but you're going to get hurt. Rule number two, do not jump. All right. Now, the third one is going to be when the person tells you to take the step, you're going to wait for him. He's going to tell you to take a step. You're going to look straight down, no tiptoeing, no cheating like that. You're going to take one confident step off the ledge. And that's it.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Hey, take a half step back. Right there. Perfect. All right, we're going to put this on. You want to help this out, so we're just going to put this on like ski goggles, basically. Let's move the hair away. And pull that on. Make sure it's adjusted properly. Does it feel comfortable on the face?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. It's not too tight, not too loose?
No.
All right. Look around a little bit. I may have to. All right, close your eyes for 1 second. See, when you're ever doing a live demo, it always comes up like this, right? All right, sorry. 1 second. Take it off for 1 second. We're going to take this off. If we didn't have a problem with a live demo, it's not real. So we got to.
Can I jump now?
It's much safer jumping now than it is later on. All right, sorry guys. Of course it happens to freeze up. That's why. There we go. All right. So put this on, move the hair out of the way, put that on like goggles. All right, does that feel comfortable?
Uh-huh, perfect.
All right. Now then, look straight ahead like that. I'm going to readjust this. Enjoy the ride up.
Thank you.
Whoa, hey, not supposed to be on that platform.
Look around, look to the left, look to the right, see where you're.
All right.
Look down to your feet.
You want to see the best view in the city? I'll set you up. Don't tell anybody about this stuff. I'll get in a lot of trouble. I'll talk you through this radio. Oh, and a lot better if you look up when you're riding to the top. So, look up, I'll send you up.
Look all the way up. Look where you're going to go.
Go ahead. Give it a look up. I'll send you up.
Look down, look up. Now look around.
All right, take a look to your left and your right. Don't worry if you feel some swaying. That lift cable probably won't break. See the applied VR building over there? Feels massive when we're moving up like this. Look up above. See the billboard I'm painting right at the top. All right, here we are. 500 feet up on the side of a building. Oh, I hope you're not afraid of heights. Why don't you take a look down at the ground now? That always freaks people out.
Take a look down. Lean over. Take a look further
You know
down.
you're in a safe space, right? I'm right here to catch you.
Take one more look down and step
Let's look
further.
down.
Look over the rail. See
You
where
can
you
do
came
it.
from.
I love looking down at the people from up there. Why don't you try to look at the sidewalk below?
Look to the left. Look to the right. All right, now look down toward your feet. Look all the way down to the platform
right?
you're staring on.
Knock the gate off. You know this
Lean
isn't
over a
real,
little bit.
right? Since it's virtual, let's have some fun and step off the platform. But don't jump. And don't tiptoe either, that's cheating. Just take one large, confident step, 500 feet into the virtual air.
Look straight down. Take that step.
Go for it. Come on.
And look down while you're going down.
Whoa, it's pretty intense, huh? Hopefully that's the last time you think you can step off.
We'll
the
take
edge
this
of a
off.
building.
So I've literally put about 2,000 people through this, and it breaks down this way. About 10% of the population is not impacted. They're able to take a step off, but 3 to 5% of the population doesn't see stereoscopically, so they don't see depth left and right. Then it breaks down a third, a third, a third. A third of the population literally cannot take it off. We were at the Surgeon General of the White House back in the Obama administration. Big strapping guy gets up there and just like at the top rips it off, can't do it. The next third is a crouching tiger, hidden dragon third. They get up there and they do this for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they could do that all day long, and they'll never take a step off unless we introduce an outside stimulus. Then the final third will have an elevated heart rate. They will feel, they have an elevated heart rate. They'll feel their palms will get sweaty and all of that. And so I feel like you either were in that 10% category or you were in that 1/3 that can actually do it, but you have an elevated heart rate. So where'd you fall in?
I think that the reason I was able to take a step is because I've been meditating for many years. So I think while I was up there, which is pretty scary and all very, very real, it feels incredibly real, and there is not just what you see, it's the sound and everything. But part of my whole training with meditation is to just basically not let outside circumstances affect how I feel.
See, you'd be a great Navy SEAL.